There she is.
I forgot that that I had to press an OK button to approving to I
To
guess
be
standard
seen.
to be
There you go.
seen. Yes, I am
Yes.
approving.
Okay. How are you this morning?
It's an exciting day today. We just got a notice from I guess it's the waterworks people of Montreal that
Oh,
they're going to be replacing some 50-year-old pipes. I've
oh,
actually, yeah.
isn't
So,
that exciting? I'm sorry I didn't. You should have texted me that. I would have had a party hat on or something for you. But
well, it's a great little notice because it says we're going to be doing that, and hopefully you will get our notice the day that they're doing that.
yes, well,
Because
I hope yes,
me
and
too.
hope it doesn't drag on too long. Well, all right. So has this changed your view of the new Montreal administration, or is it you're expecting trouble?
No, well, I'm actually happy that something's being fixed. I think that's great because
Okay.
the old pipes, I believe, might contain lead. You know,
Ah,
and no one wants to go through the madness of King George like our ancient royal forebears did. You know,
okay. Well, there's a lot of
though there are
material
some
there.
people who might question my sanity on a regular basis, and I
Yeah,
suppose I
and
could
I
blame that
wasn't
on the
going to go there,
Romans,
but okay, you took me there by the hand. All right, good stuff.
of course.
Yeah, I had a dental appointment scheduled for tomorrow, and I called very early this morning, and I spoke with
Right.
I said I must cancel because I have a cold. She said, "Oh, how nice of you to do that." I said, "Well, doesn't everybody do that?" And she said, "No."
No.
So there you are. Anyway, our guest this morning today is
The
Joey
incredible Joey Elias.
Elias. Joey Elias, whom
He
I've
is,
known casually for many, many years.
I'd
We
say,
talked about him when we spoke
yeah,
with Carla Collins. I brought his name up. Please continue. I'm sorry.
yes. Well, Joey Elias, I came to Montreal in 1982 to go to Concordia University, and I lasted about a year and a half, and then I got hired by Chaume, and basically that's been the last 4 decades of my life here is working in broadcasting. And I met Joey probably. He was a fixture on many of the radio stations like Chaume and CJD, also CTV. I'd like to say that he's specifically ours, but he's not. Joey is a global talent. Aside from, of course, starring in many Just for Laughs comedy specials and touring around the world, Joey has the distinction for performing for our troops
Right.
overseas,
Yeah.
and also is a relentless fundraiser for charities. I know he's done charities for the homeless. Earlier this year, he actually hosted a press conference and then a charity fundraiser that I organized with the Canadian Ukrainian Congress and Le Sentier, the Trail, which is an organization to help veterans at risk as they try to ease back into civilian life. He's a movie star. He
Yes.
famously froze to death in The Day After Tomorrow. So sad. I want to ask him about that. You know,
Well,
him leading everybody outside the library as Jake
let's bring
Gyllenhaal
him
in
in
a
here so
chaos space. And
we
so,
can dovetail into that. Yeah, I've been
yeah,
a fan for many years, and you sent me a clip of Joey, and it's 20 years old. So I'd like to see his reaction to that particular little extract we have.
Hello,
Joseph,
hello. How are
how
you?
are you?
Good, thank
Good
you.
to good to see you. How are you
It is good
feeling?
to good. It's good to be seen.
Era was just talking about we're going over your career here, and we have a clip from YouTube. It's 20 years old already, 2005.
All
You've
right.
been doing stand up. When did you start doing stand up, Joe?
1990
1990.
was the
Okay.
first time I hit the stage. Yeah,
Okay.
and was
That's
it true
that's.
that it was on a bet?
yeah,
Can you tell
uh,
us that story?
yeah. I we were skipping school, me and my buddy, and I had taken him to the comedy club like 1,000 times by this time. So we were at this pool hall, and there were two comics that we had seen, and my buddy, his name's Dan, and So Dan just said, hey, listen, I know you've been writing material. So why don't I'm going to go tell those guys that you've been writing material. And I was like, don't do it. It's like, I'll play a game of pool. And if I beat you, we're going to go over there. He says to this day that he just, I didn't even take a shot. He just says he cleaned the table. I don't remember that part. But then, yeah, we walked over. It was Rick Bronson and David John McCarthy. And in the old day, we told him exactly what went down. And then we went over to the phone. There was no cell phones back then. And we asked Roger behind the counter if we can use the phone. And I called and I left a message. And I hung up the phone and DJ said, yeah, you just left a message on my voicemail. I booked a comedy club, so I'll see you Wednesday. And that was it. And then I went up one time and I just thought, yeah, that's it. I'll just do it. And then went away for, 6-7 months, came back, watched the show, and DJ was, where have you been? And that was it. So I came back after about 7-8 months and then really hit the grind. And Ernie saw me the first time. Ernie Butler saw me on a Wednesday and just said, yeah, come on back. So, and then, I started at the right time, though, with the right people. We were just about 10 of us. Ernie called us the Brat Pack because we just did whatever we wanted. But I think I came up at the right time with the right people. And by that, I mean the comedy boom was still going on. Everybody in the Montreal scene was just young, and we all had the same mentality. We just wanted to be really good at what we did. And the thing is that we didn't, when comedians from other towns came into Montreal to headline, and we were the opening acts, we didn't want to make it easy for them. We wanted them to know that Montreal was for real, and everybody coming out of this city was good, and we're going to be good. And we still, like that group of us, that are, except for Deej, who sadly passed way too early, we're all in touch with one another. It doesn't matter what city we're in or what we're doing. Everybody, the holidays come around, we're all on a big group chat, and we're all hoping everybody comes back into town and we get together. So yeah, it's a great group, and I'm still very honored to be part of that, if you want to call it a clique.
Good for you. It still gets you out of bed in the morning.
Oh yeah, I love it. Honestly, I don't know. I think to myself some days, with all the other projects you have, okay, what can I take time off from? And it's never stand up. It's usually, sadly, family events.
Right. Yeah. There was a show that we were talking about your fundraising activities, which are extensive. Now, you had a show in September for 03. Can you tell us about 03? What was that?
So On Our Own is a transitional housing unit for women between the ages of like 16 and 25 that unfortunately have not been dealt the best hands in life. And what On Our Own does, takes them in, gives them an apartment, gives them education in terms of how to cook, how to be a parent. And it's a communal thing. So there's 24 houses in there. There's 24 moms with their children, but they all eat together. They all cook together. All the kids have daycare together. This year is going to be our 15th year coming up in September. And what's amazing about it is now somebody helping us on the 15th anniversary was there, as somebody in that program. Okay. And now 15 years later, they've gone out, they've gotten their life together, they have a degree now in communications. And guess what? She's now in charge of helping us with all the PR and so forth for next year. So it's really a full circle story of how great this organization is. And when you go down, I love going down some days just to see the kids, just all in the backyard. The parents are all standing around having fun. So there really is a sense of community. And when somebody comes off the streets where they're just fending for themselves and they don't know anything else because their family has abandoned them, their work has abandoned them, this is a wonderful thing that brings them in and says, no, you're worth something. And we're going to make sure that you know that. And it's, like I said, over 15 years of watching, young women just come out of the streets and out of trouble and just now are just happy, productive individuals with a purpose. It's wonderful.
Well, good for you. On Our Own, I presume they have a website that we can look up here. And
Yeah, if you just Google
okay.
On Our Own '03,
Okay.
and it's in NDG, which is around the corner from where I grew up. And that was the other thing that just startled me, was like, really, that this stuff goes on in my neighborhood?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
right.
and that was
Yeah.
an education too. Like, I was so naive, and that was only 15 years ago. So, you know, it's and we know now, you know, the times we live in are tougher, and you know, I know the organization is trying to grow and get some more apartments because the demand is there, unfortunately.
I flashing back to Ernie now. My God, he's been gone for 18 years already.
Yeah.
Damn. You've felt the time fly by. How has the business changed? The business. How has the? You mentioned that it's not the same these days.
No, I mean, when Ernie was around, there were two clubs, right? There was the Comedy Nest, which Ernie owned, and the Comedy Works, with Jimbo's. And at the very start, you had to choose. You had to make a choice. You know,
Right.
you were either a Comedy Nest comic or a Comedy Works comic. And there was a little bit of bad blood between Ernie and Jimbo. But eventually that all just changed. And, you know, we just, both of them, both Ernie and Jimbo just realized, wait a minute, they can play anywhere. Just let them get good.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was the game plan. But the real change in the industry is social media, right? Is everybody now, back in the day, our social media was going out after the show, having a few drinks, and hopefully a couple people from the show came down to the bar after. They liked us. We had some business cards. That was our social media. That's how we got, you know, the Christmas parties and all that stuff. Now nobody goes out and drinks. I don't know if it's a health thing, if it's a money thing, but a lot of the young comics, they videotape their sets, they finish, they run home, they cut it up into like 5-6 pieces, they put it up on, you know, TikTok, Facebook. It's a full-time job for them. I give them credit because I know I couldn't do it.
Okay.
You know, I have other hobbies. I like watching sports too, but I give them credit because it, you know, it was a grind back in the day. I feel like it's more of a grind now because you're up against so many more people and so many more. It's because as soon as anybody clicks onto the social media sites, you're in that vortex now. They know the algorithm. So even if you're watching, let's say, you know, David Acker, now your feed is full of comedians that are similar to David. And that's all you're going to see. So in a sense, it's a great way to discover new comics. But every day, like, I get text messages from comics going, hey, did you see this special? You can't keep up.
Well, I kind of disagree. I have found you to be extraordinary, not only with your comedy work, and I know, how many Just for Love specials have you done? Like, a lot. I think it's 12, 14?
Yeah, something around there.
Something like
honestly,
that.
I don't even count, just because I remember, listen, it's still a huge honor to get into any festival.
Right.
But, and I never, you know, people just ask me like, oh, by the 13th, it must have been like old hat. No, because every festival is different. Every set you're doing at a festival is different. Different people come to watch, different scouts. But, and that was the other thing too, right? Is Montreal, the Just for Laughs festivals have undergone a huge change.
Yeah.
So thankfully it was saved, and it has been brought back from, you know, almost death by this comedy hub. So, and from what I understood, last summer was very good on the English side. So unfortunately I wasn't around. I was out.
I remember the very first one with Newswatch. I did a live hit from the Maine. God, it's as if it were yesterday. And Emo Phillips came up to do 2 minutes with me. And you remember Emo with the hair?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Love emo.
And I remember the gag.
He's still running around.
Really? Remember the gag he threw at me? He says, it's good to be in Montreal. I was in Berlin recently. And he said the cab driver kept complaining about not being able to find a good bagel in that town. And I said to him, of course, well, whose fault is that? And that was an Emo Phillips gag that he'd just drop these bombs and then walk off stage. So my goodness,
voted the best comedy joke writer by his fellow comedians.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I liked him because he showed up. You know, he did a couple of minutes, and I had difficulties with other comics who were grudgingly sort of showing up for 2 minutes. They weren't getting paid, so they wouldn't sort of.
And this wasn't the morning, was it?
This was 6 o'clock in the evening. So
okay.
Yeah.
Also a weird spot though, because a lot of times the shows are at 7 and we had to run.
Yeah. So
I remember they did the morning. One of the stations would do like a morning.
Yeah, it was the CJD in the mornings, and Al Gravel and I did. Was it late night at the Laugh Zone?
I remember those
for 11 years.
I remember that at the Delta. Yeah,
11 years. Yes, I remember that.
We had a table that was just in front of the bar, and for the first 3 hours, we were pretty much interviewing the busboys and the hotel staff because there wasn't a lot. So, to be honest, Oliver Cedra, one of our great producers of the show, actually brought in a young Sugar Sammy.
He's still young.
He's still young. and a few. Oliver was always running up, but the best part was when they would all come back and they'd all crowd into that little bar. And of course, after a few tipples, you know, I remember John, our producer, would have a table with 5 microphones and 5 seats, and he said, "Absolutely no more than 5 people." And we usually ended up with 12. And extraordinary names. I always like to say, Joey, that we got shows that people didn't get to see. But back to you and your film career. I still am traumatized when I see Frozen in the snow in the Day After Tomorrow. Tell me what it was like, because that was a big feature film. There was Dennis Quaid, there was Jake Gyllenhaal. It was crazy, and you had a fairly significant part in that.
Yeah, I got lucky with that. I read for another smaller role, and then right at the audition, they said, "Hey, do you have time? Can you read for this role?" And I said, "Sure." I had no idea that Roland Emmerich, the director, was in the room at all. Like, he was in a corner, kind of tucked away. Nobody really saw him. I thought he was the camera guy, honestly. So when it all worked out, it was crazy how fast it took off. You know, from the time the audition went to the time I got cast and all that. But it was so much fun hanging out. All my scenes were with the Jake Gyllenhaal. I never really saw Dennis Quaid. But they were all so cool. You know, like Gyllenhaal was on his way to becoming the megastar he is, but he was very cool, kind, hung around, joked with all of us. But when we were making it, I had no idea that it was going to take off like that. Like I've been invited to parties because, like at fraternities, because they have this thing called disaster porn, where people love watching the end of the world. And so I got invited to like a McGill party that had a Day After Tomorrow theme, and that was kind of fun. Somebody dressed up as my character, which was very bizarre. But it's amazing that people still, after all these years, talk to me. And I think it is because, you know, when we first started filming, we had like a little scientist come in and talk to us about, like, this could happen. Everything that is in this movie can happen. It can't happen as fast as we make it out to be in the movie, but it's going to happen. And I think with all the climate change that we've seen and some of the mega storms that we've seen, people are like, "Oh, that reminds me of Day After Tomorrow," which isn't a great thing to be reminded about. But if it reminds people that, you know what, maybe I should take better care of the planet, then that was the goal. Like every car on the scene, you know, like driving to and from, electric. Roland was way, way ahead of the curve on this one. He was like all electric cars. Everything was very economically, you know, very green, recycling bins everywhere. So he practices what he preaches.
Is that interesting? Let's get back to your comedy now. You've been, quote unquote, on the road now for more than 30 years. Is that has that become a bit of a grind now after all that time?
I just got off the road a week. I've been home a week now after 4 weeks away, and I love it.
Still,
I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I'm just enjoying everything more, but even in Toronto, like I took more time I got together with other comedians during the day, and I have high school friends and elementary school friends that have moved, so they're there. I went to camp in Ontario, so I still have all my camp buddies. I know I'm not supposed to like Toronto, but I really did. I had a great time. I was also caught up in the Blue Jays fever that I was there for.
Oh, good.
So I was in the middle of baseball heaven for a little bit, which was great. And then also, when I went back to the condo one night and I watched that doc, Who Killed the Expos, it was so so depressing just to be in a baseball town without your team. But I love the road. I think the road is where I'm most creative because there's no distractions. People who know I'm on the road, like my family, we call once, twice a day, and then, it's a group chat with dad and my siblings and stuff like that. But everybody else knows, okay, he's on the road, just do his thing. I like going to museums. I like taking it all in. That's the other thing. It's like every city, big or small, I try to take something in. So if there's a museum, I'll do that. Even where was I? I was in Wakefield, Quebec, just a tiny little town. It's gorgeous. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It is stunning. Like, I don't know how I've never been until like maybe 6 weeks ago. And now I'm like, I got to get back there. Just even the coffee and the croissant, that little corner place, everybody's friendly. They talk to you. They don't care if you answer in English or French. It's just this big, happy little village, and it's beautiful.
I think of you frequently when I hear lawnmowers. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why I jumped into this. Tondre la gazon.
Oh, my French-Italian guy.
That's a long time ago, but I always say to myself, oh, somebody's tondre la gazon when I hear a lawnmower, and I think of Joey Elias.
That was years ago. That was, the St. Leonard French guy was actually based on an Italian neighbor in Côte. My grandmother's neighbor in Côte Saint Luc was Mr. Salvati, and he had the greatest garden in the world, made homemade wine, super nice guy. But when he would get really, really amped up about something, he would start speaking French with this heavy Italian accent, and nothing made sense, and every other second word was half, a blend.
Been in the country
Italian.
for 40 years or something, right? And it comes right out. Yeah. Anyway, it always makes me laugh when I think about that.
Thanks. You know what? I haven't thought of that voice in so long. I don't even know if I can do it anymore, to be honest.
It shows you where my brain is half the time. So that's now DVD. I got some notes here. Douchebag. Is that a DVD you're working on now?
That was a DVD that came out probably about 12 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
And the reason it was called that was at the time, Ernie had the radio show when he passed, the comedy show.
Yeah.
And I picked up the baton, and I got called in one day for saying that word on air. And I just basically had to explain myself. And it just there was a lot of convincing, and finally I got I think my argument was that if I walked into a pharmacy, I can use that word and they would serve me without even looking at me funny. And also I came on after a show that discussed sex that was way more descriptive than my show ever was.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yes.
That was also, I think that's part of the joke. I got to remember that. I'm going to go check out my notes after this.
I love the fact that you're basically our Canadian equivalent of a USO guy, touring in often very dangerous places. I think I sent you a picture of you with a helmet on that says Iceman on it.
I love that
tip of
picture.
the hat to Top Gun. But you've been to Afghanistan.
Yeah,
and
twice.
Rwanda, I believe.
And Haiti.
And that's a very different, obviously, audience. But what is it like to be there and to be with these people who are basically putting their lives on the line, and you're there to make them laugh?
After the first tour that I did in Rwanda, I realized that we're not so much just the entertainment. Like, they want the comedy and the music and the dancing and stuff like that. But really what they want is a new set of ears. so that they can talk to somebody who isn't. Imagine you live with somebody for 6, 7, 8 months, same room, and then you go to work, it's the same people. You go to lunch and dinner, it's the same people. So it really is Groundhog Day for these men and women. So when you get an opportunity just to sit and talk and listen, that I think is the main job, is just to sit and listen and, let them tell their story and have another shoulder and ear for them to lean on. I still keep in touch with a lot of the men and women that I've kept. Yeah, I think that's 2004.
Okay.
And
Afghanistan.
That's Afghanistan. Right? Yeah, that's in Kabul. And we're on our way to the King's Palace. And I remember everybody was so serious. We had to line up our flak jackets on the ground with our helmets. And then they were like, okay, here's a piece of tape. Make sure you write down your name and stuff. And everybody just wrote so I wrote Iceman. I don't know what overtook me.
Okay.
But what was fun was...
Is that a reference to something or just
yeah, it's Val Kilmer's character in
okay. I thought I was missing a reference. Okay, I got you.
But what was fun, like after, the third or fourth day, you'd be walking around the base and you just hear, hey, Iceman, and, it's some other soldier calling you.
Wow. That's quite something. So the fundraising is something that is part of your craft, part of your efforts, part of your... must be gratifying for you.
I know you've done a lot of work with the legions, because over the years, several of the legions have been at risk of shutting down, which is a terrible thing for those who have served.
Well, the legions, we found that because I just found it so aggravating, like you said, that all these men and women and their families have made such a sacrifice. And then the thing really was in COVID. And obviously a lot of things went wrong in COVID, but most of the workers at the Legion are volunteers. So because they're volunteers, they didn't benefit from, the government handing out some cash. So that really put them in some tight times. Now, some provinces have made it that they're tax-free. I think across the country, the Legion should be tax-free. It offers so much more than just cheap booze. That's what people don't realize. Like, I tell people to go drink at the Legion because you'll save a lot of money. But if you look at what the Legion does, it's a community hall, right? It's not just where the veterans go and hang out to be with one another, but there's weddings, there's, baptisms and sweet 16s and everything else that goes on in there. Graduation parties. So it really is a big part of the community. So I hope, now with the new government, they actually do something for the veterans that are... I'll tell you the story that just destroyed me in Toronto, just 5 weeks ago. I was outside the comedy club on my way in, and I saw an individual sitting down, asking for some money. And I went into the club, and there was a buffet dinner, So I just told the manager, I said, I'm just going to scoop some in a to-go thing. And I scooped up some food, and I grabbed some drink, and I gave it to him. And he goes, hey, thanks, man. He goes, by the way, I saw you in Afghanistan. He was a soldier.
Oh,
and
my
now
God.
He's on the street.
Wow.
And that was it for me.
Goosebumps.
That broke me. And, I ended up sitting outside with him for about 25, 30 minutes just talking. And it wasn't drugs. It wasn't anything else. It was, PTSD.
PTSD.
And he was telling me how he fell through the cracks. And now that's kind of why... And I grew up in a family that was very charitable. Like my mom and my dad always had fundraisers going on through the school. They were both teachers and stuff like that. My dad still... you talk to him. Hey, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going to go help out. I'm going to volunteer at the... He's very... it's funny, we're not Filipino at all, but somehow my dad has been invited in to the Filipino community. So he goes to all these... And it's wonderful because it gets him out of the house and it's social. And
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
I guess so, yeah. But he's got a better delivery than I do. He's very dry.
Mental health you've discussed over the years too. I was reading a piece here where you were quoted as saying that amongst comics, mental health is a concern, and you admitted to having your own difficulties at times too, right?
Sure. Yeah, and it goes back to COVID, and we really did a great job, I think, in the Montreal comedy community of looking out after one another. I mean, like I said, we're always in touch, but when it got really nitty gritty and everybody was kind of in the doldrums, we all reached out. We all did the Zoom calls. We don't want to call it a wellness check, but it was a wellness check. That's what we were doing. We were making sure all of our own were taken care of. But yeah, the road is lonely some days. But you learn, I've adapted now. I'm good with that. But it's the time alone, because I think it's not just comics. Anybody creative, if your mind is constantly working and you don't know how to shut it down, it's a very hard thing. Watch a comedian relax. A lot of us do have ADHD or something like that, but we can't relax because
Can't sit still.
We're always looking. It's almost like we're a cop on a beat looking for that next clue. Yeah. That's what we're doing. It's like, oh, is that funny? Is that a joke? Could I write something? So yeah, we're always kind of looking. I mean, I'm not one of those comics that's always on, like if you see me in a bar or a cafe, I'm not, the same guy on stage. I'd be exhausted if I was the same guy on stage. That guy's a little crankier than I
am. The clip that I chose, Yvan, it's from a while back, but I really like this a lot because I remember when, kids' sports was mainly like baseball, basketball, and then all of a sudden it was soccer. But soccer kind of made sense because soccer is basically there's no pads, there's no sticks, there's no baseball bats and stuff like that. But you sort of this is when you were talking about the invasion of soccer as what has become now a very popular sport in North America.
Yeah.
As Yvan cues that up for me, but
this is 20 years old already. We're going to get an angry letter from Just for Laughs.
How are you?
I don't think they exist
Here's
anymore.
what I want to bring up. I'm here on a very serious note. I know Russell mentioned I'm athletic. I love sports, because those who can't play watch. And I'm very good. I can crush you with my Nintendo thumb. I will kill you. This is the alarming trend. After hockey, which is the greatest sport ever played, by the way. Yeah, it is. Here's the alarming trend. Do you know what the second most popular sport in Canada is right now? Soccer. No. Well, we know the immigrants are in the house. All right. What a dumb game. And you're wearing the shirt. It's a dumb game, my friend. How do you play 90 minutes and not score when the net's the size of Guam? And they're not that tough. Hockey players...
Okay, we're going to get taken off YouTube here if I continue. That's funny, but that's 20 years old. Do you recognize that young man?
It was nice to see no gray hair.
Yeah. Wow.
There's
a lot of...
That was it.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I believe that
the
was
older you get, my
Day.
friend, the more it flies. Yes.
Does it?
Oh, my God. Please continue.
Yeah, I think that was a Canada Day special that we filmed.
Okay.
I'm trying to
2005. Yeah, 2005.
I don't remember the venue,
I think one of my favorite things about you as a comic is there are a lot of comics. Heckling is part of being a comic. There are people out there in the audience who perhaps have gotten into their cups a wee bit too much, and then there are others who think that they're smart asses and are funnier than you. But I have watched you deal with them, and I also watch you, I don't know what the term is, but you just play with the audience and you riff, and you are spectacular at that.
Oh, thanks. I think I feel that if the audience knows if I'm riffing, and they know that everything I'm about to do is off the top of my head. And I think it's exciting for them. It's exciting for me because both of us don't really know where this is going to go. So I think they buy into it just as long as you're not mean about it. Like I don't get the meanness of, and I understand, people like the roast battles and they want to belittle people and stuff like that. But I don't try to do that. I just try to connect with people as much as I can. Like, what do you do? How did you meet? And also sometimes I'll ask a question that will lead into material. So even Yeah, even though I'm having a conversation, I'm trying to manipulate the conversation to go a certain way.
But getting back to the material now, are they fully formed pieces where you go, okay, I'll take I like soup off the shelf and use that, or I'm going to go into the Italian neighbor, or are these pieces evolve, or are they sort of archived and used here and there?
They evolve definitely until they run its course. I don't think I've done the French Italian guy in 15 years now.
Yeah, but okay, but the pieces, the pieces you're working with now today, are they sort of rehearsed and sort of
Yeah.
sealed in a certain way, and then you use this one, and then the next one? Okay,
Exactly. And most of it now is, I mean, they always say talk about what you know. So
Right.
right now it's all about not feeling my age. You know, I'm 53 physically, mentally not even close. You know, like I say on stage, I'm 12 mentally.
okay,
You know, and you take it from there. And but that's the thing right now. That's what I'm talking about is how my doctor tells me I'm in better physical shape than I've ever been, and yet all these little nagging things come out. You know, like I said, I went to bed one night, I was fine, I woke up, and I had a limp. You know, I hurt myself sleeping one night, and that's where I'm at right now in
yeah,
life.
oh yeah, oh, I get the same thing. And you wake up and you go, what the hell is it now? What is it now?
Yeah,
what's
and it's
wrong
always
now?
because you left the window open.
Yeah,
That's always the answer.
Or you hurt your back sneezing. I've done that.
I've done that. I absolutely have done that. But you know
because
what?
you left the window open.
I've taken solace if I ever sneeze and hurt my back that former Montreal Expo, Mike Lansing, ended up on the 15-day disabled list because he did that. So, you know, professional athletes can do that as well. So it really is the cracking of everything now. Like I played softball this summer for the first time in like 20 years. There were parts of my body that got sore that I didn't even know you could get sore. You know, and it was just like, wow, what is this muscle?
Yeah. Just wait.
All
right, so we're recording this in November of 2025. Now, where can we see you in the coming weeks and months?
I will, in most of December, I will be at the Comedy Nest.
Okay.
The Thursdays to the Saturdays.
Where is it now?
It is in the old Forum, which
Okay,
is
it's still upstairs. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
third
Yeah.
floor.
Okay.
The bar is open, and if somebody comes down on a Saturday night that hasn't been to the club in 20 years, it's going to look it's going to look very similar. Doug Muncie is behind the bar, and Muncie was Ernie's best friend for years.
Yep.
And I love that because, Doug has seen so much comedy over the years, working with Ernie, for Ernie, whatever. So if I'm on stage, and even if I'm doing a 7-minute spot, and I come off and Dougie gives you the thumbs up, like that to me is the world. That's like Johnny Carson giving you the okay.
Yeah,
because he's seen so much of it.
He's at the door for how long? You say? God, it's been 30 years easily.
Yeah.
And you're doing the trivia show on CJD every Sunday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Jay Farrar was kind enough to ask me if I wanted to be his co-host, and we've done that now for a year. I've proven to the public that every Sunday I know very little. Some of those questions are amazing. And you know what's fun about that trivia show is we take it on the road now for charity also. And meeting all the listeners is so much fun. I never thought it would be, hey, it's Gino. Like, oh my God, that's the face to the voice, and it's been a really fun time actually, just working on that show. Working with your friend for 25 years on a show is great. Now, yeah, what's interesting now is people recognize the voice. Like I'll be in a grocery store and I'll order something and somebody will turn around and be like, hey, are you? And I was like, I guess. Where when, before, in the early days, it was CBC, Just for Laughs got you on CBC. And if you got that TV gala, CBC was free across
Yeah.
the country.
Right.
And that's what made you, because at the time we didn't have 900 channels plus all the streaming services. It was, here it is, everybody I knew. And to this day, I mean, people tell me, I saw you on Just for Laughs. And then some of the younger comics are trying to figure out, well, how can I do that? And I was like, I don't know, because it's a whole new world now, right? But that was our ticket. And if you got that gala, so you know you were televised in Canada, the doors opened everywhere. You know, after my first gala in 2000, I ended up in the UK for 6 months, in the States touring around. So, you know, Just for Laughs was the biggest thing at the time. And then what happened eventually was, you know, they had to put up with, and you know, that's why they do have the Netflix specials and the Crave specials that they film there, because that's where the comics want. That's why the comics want to go. And I know they do a thing called originals, which is audio. And a lot of comedians who have their stuff, you know, being played on XM or Sirius, that's where we make some of our money also.
Times have changed, as you say. But
Yeah.
thanks for joining us, Joey. It's good to see you.
Oh, it's
And,
my pleasure. Thanks for thinking of
And
me.
Break a Leg Trivia Show on CJAD and the Comedy Nest in December, and probably elsewhere in the country in 2026, because he's unstoppable, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thank you. That was fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Always good to be
Thanks,
seen.
Joey.
Thank you. And I'm surprised that they're fixing my roof the last 2 days. And I'm actually very surprised none of that noise came in.
We heard nothing except for you, which is the purpose of this whole exercise.
My whole house is shaking right now. It's pretty cool. I don't know.
Thanks,
what happened.
Joey.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
Ciao.